wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
We are the Breakfast Club. What's up?
I rock with 30 for 30. I love that record, but I'm old enough to feel like Rich Boy Throw Some D's about to drop.
All the time.
Right?
Every time that song come on.
All the time. All right, well, let's get in some front page news. Start off with some quick sports. The Gators beat the Houston Cougars in the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship last night, 65-63. So congratulations to the Florida Gators.
Sounds like it was a good game.
Yeah, very good game.
Too bad I don't care about men's college basketball.
No? Very good game. What up, Morgan?
Hey, y'all. Hey, yes, that was indeed a good game. And shout out to Florida for the comeback. That was like ridiculous. Woo! They deserve that. All right, so first up on the front page, President Trump won big in the Supreme Court regarding a deportation case and the Alien Enemies Act. But before I get into that, let's talk about the recent visit Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had with President Trump. So Donald Trump says he's the best president for Israel, even with the new tariffs. Speaking with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the president said Israel will always be a close ally, while Netanyahu praised President Trump for his support. Let's take a listen to their bromance, that exchange that they had, the two.
Many friends in Israel. They are not in an easy area. It doesn't go easy, but we are helping them. And likewise, they've been helping us.
You've been a remarkable friend of the State of Israel. You stand by us. You're standing with us. You are a great, great champion of our lives.
So Netanyahu said he will start to tear down any trade barriers. Of course, this is a result of President Trump's reciprocal tariffs. You know, he's put those on everybody. It don't matter who you are. So Netanyahu said he will start to tear down any trade barriers between the two countries. And he went on to say the country will continue to work with the U.S. on trade. Let's take a listen to Netanyahu.
We will eliminate the trade deficit with the United States. We intend to do it very quickly. We think it's the right thing to do, but to also eliminate trade barriers, a variety of trade barriers that have been put up unnecessarily. And I think Israel can serve as a model for many countries who ought to do the same.
So Trump thanked Netanyahu for the discussion on trade between the U.S. and Israel, adding that, of course, the U.S., he continues to reiterate this, the U.S. has been ripped off for years and we can no longer be the stupid people anymore. So it does appear just a little bit, at least with this particular ally, Israel, that the trade deficit, the tariffs and all of that stuff, this particular country is coming to the negotiating table regarding that. Now, Netanyahu also said that he still wants to get the hostages freed from Hamas in Gaza and is working with Trump on that. Now, Trump says he's communicating directly with Iran, speaking with the Israeli prime minister, of course, at the White House. The president said the Iranian-backed militia group, they need to disarm immediately, or he's hinting at military action. Let's take a listen to Trump regarding that.
I think everybody agrees that doing a deal would be preferable to doing the obvious. And the obvious is not something that I want to be involved with, or frankly, that Israel wants to be involved with if they can avoid it. So we're going to see if we can avoid it.
Yeah, so Trump also hinted at military action if a deal is not struck between the two, Israel and Iran, in regards to the whole situation going on in Gaza. Any thoughts on that, guys? It looks like in regards to at least our ally, it looks like the trade and the tariffs seem to be working in Trump's favor.
I thought Trump didn't want any war. I thought Trump didn't want any, no fighting going on. I thought he was trying to seesaw wars.
He has said that, but he also has said that, basically, he's also threatening that
saying don't push him.
Right, pretty much. Yes, period. All right. Well, speaking of military, President Trump reportedly wants to hold a military parade to celebrate his birthday. Multiple reports say the parade will happen through the streets of the nation's capital on June 14th, the president's 79th birthday and the Army's 250th anniversary. So the parade will be 4 miles long, going from the Pentagon to the White House. And apparently he did want to do this within his first administration, but the bill was too high, something like $9 million or something, $90 million was quoted before. So that's why he couldn't do it during his first term. But so he is expected to have one this term. Yep.
Yeah, all these federal jobs lost. The economy is in the toilet. People's 401ks being slashed. Nothing to celebrate right now, my guy. Okay. Nothing to celebrate.
And if he was worried about the $9 million last time, who's going to take the $9 million bill this time?
The
It's the
taxpayers.
90. I'm sorry, correction. 92 million was the price tag.
$92 million.
$92 million.
Jesus
You know,
Christ.
isn't that wasteful spending?
Yes.
Where Doge at when you need him? Doge can, well, I guess he does have presidential immunity. So the Doge can intervene in a situation like this? That seems like wasteful spending to me.
Well, let's take it up to the Supreme Court, maybe. You know, that's what we'll talk about at 7. He had a big win with the Supreme Court, so we'll get into that.
You need to have a nice little light party at Mar-a-Lago for family and close friends. Okay? Don't involve our military with that foolishness.
All right. Well, that is front page news. Get it off your chest. 800-585-1051. If you need to vent, phone lines are wide open. Again, 1-800-585-1051. Call us up right now. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning. Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are The Breakfast Club. Let's get in some front page news. Again, congratulations to the Florida Gators. They beat the Houston Cougars 65-63 to win the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship. So congratulations to the Gators. Again, are you a Gator fan, Morgan?
I just like to do the chomp.
Oh, okay. Okay, all right. Well, good morning, Morgan.
I mean, and I do like that they blue and orange, you know, Morgan State, HBCU. Anyway.
I get it. I get it.
All right, y'all. So let's get back into the front page news. So President Trump is scoring a big victory in the Supreme Court. In a 5-4 ruling on Monday, the court will allow the Department of Justice to remove alleged Venezuelan gang members from the country under the Alien Enemies Act. Now, White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller says the ruling makes the lower court judge look bad. Let's hear from Stephen Miller, Deputy Chief of Staff.
This was a huge, a monumental victory for President Trump. The biggest legal win of this administration so far. A total embarrassment for crazy Judge Boasberg, who's been trying to force this president to bring foreign alien terrorists back onto American soil.
So Trump may now invoke the 1798 law to speed up removals while things play out in lower courts. This will impact. Go ahead. Were you guys going to say?
I would say, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not that he's trying to bring gang members back, but when you have people who get swept up that aren't gang members accidentally, that's who they was trying to get back, right? Like it was the father from Maryland, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get into that. It's not just him, but it's also the fact that, remember that judge issued that ruling on whether or not all of those migrants could be shipped to Venezuela and to El Salvador. Remember there was that confusion about when the plane left and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of the overall, how are you going to get rid of or so-called deport these people? There's a way to do it, but based on this particular ruling, that means that he feels like the country is in some sort of turmoil, some sort of under attack. So if he feels like the country is being in a vulnerable space, then we can pretty much get rid of people how we want to, period. That's kind of how that ruling goes. That's why it's so old. And now that it's implemented, there's less grace, I will put to that. I think this stands to impact a lot of people in immigration. But matter of fact, let's go ahead and jump into that. So you did talk about the dad, Kilmar Brego Garcia. He was deported after being arrested last month. Let's listen to his wife, Jennifer Vasquez Sura. She's the wife of the Salvadorian national who was accused of being a MS-13 gang member. Let's take a listen to his wife.
I want to say thank you to everyone that has helped us, that has supported us in fighting this, and we will continue fighting for Kilmar, for my husband.
So basically, the Trump administration has, a judge initially ordered that the government return Garcia back to the U.S. no later than 11:59 p.m. on Monday, but that Supreme Court ruling has now blocked that. So there is still efforts to get him back, but also the Trump administration is saying that, he is in fact an MS-13 gang member. ICE has proof of that. In fact, Attorney General Pam Bondi, she says President Trump will continue to obey the law as it rules, whether it rules in his favor or against him. And she made those comments on Fox News on Sunday. She said that Trump is doing what he said he would do, and the courts are kind of getting in the way. So she also, again, as I mentioned, she said that ICE has proof that the Maryland man who was mistakenly supposedly deported is an MS-13 gang member. Let's hear from Attorney General Pam Bondi.
No, the president is going to comply with the law. He was overwhelmingly elected by an overwhelming majority of the United States citizens to be our commander-in-chief, and that's what he's been doing. ICE has testified, members of ICE, that he is an MS-13 gang member. And the defense, his lawyers, have argued, well, he should be here because he was studying to be an electrician.
So it is important to note that Abrego was, in fact, granted. He was granted a protective status in I believe it's 2019. So I mean, he is here legally, but I guess if the administration decides otherwise, then the administration decides otherwise. So the Attorney General also says that the real constitutional crisis in the U.S. right now is the fact that there's been over 170 lawsuits filed against the White House. Basically saying that the administration is not able to do what they're trying to do because of this. And she said it's her directive to get people like Abrego and others out of the country. Bondi said that they're looking for the safety of Americans and will continue doing so. So, yeah.
I don't know about the person from Maryland situation. You know, I have no problem with them getting rid of gang members, but I would like to know what the proof is. Like, I would like to know what the proof they have, you know, to know that he was a member of MS-13, because I think we, the American people, should know. So we know who to avoid in the streets, or even know who to know when to call the proper authorities if we see one.
No, for real. Absolutely. And not only that, it just stands to impact immigration as a whole, because did you guys hear about the Duke basketball player? And just the fact
that's
that
crazy.
Visas are being revoked left and right. So if you haven't heard, there's a star center from the Duke men's basketball team who his visa has been revoked by the Trump administration. 7'2", Kaman Maluach is part of the Blue Devils team that made it to the Final Four on Saturday, but he's from South Sudan. And Secretary of State Marco Rubio released a statement on X saying he plans to revoke all visas held by South Sudanese passport holders immediately. So Duke University released a statement saying they're looking into the situation and working expeditiously to understand the implication of how it impacts, of course, this player and Duke students overall. And Maluach is, of course, also eligible for the 2025 NBA draft. So I'm not sure how. I'm just basically going to keep an eye on that situation and see how that plays out for him in regards to
that makes zero sense to me. But I am almost positive that his situation will be resolved.
Yeah, it will be resolved. With the amount of donors that I'm sure Republicans, the same donors that donated to Duke, I'm sure possibly donated to Trump, I'm sure they'll clean that up immediately.
And doesn't that feel like overreaching? When stuff like that starts to happen?
But it's not just them. You know, there's also visas being revoked by the Trump administration at California universities, you know, university students and alumni at UCLA, UC San Diego, UC Berkeley, UC Davis. They're among those also involved in a nationwide crackdown by the Department of Homeland Security. So you can't, you know, he's one case. Right. Maluach is one case, but, you know, it's going to be a blanket type situation. And you can't say everybody.
And it shouldn't be like that, though. Like, you can't take a chainsaw to a situation like this. You have to. I would think you would have to be surgical with it. Well, it's the same thing. It's the same thing as the Doge conversation. You can't just go in there with a chainsaw and just start cutting jobs. You got to go in there and be surgical with it.
Yeah, well,
that's not what they're doing.
And if the administration feels like the country is vulnerable right now, then they can essentially get rid of people who are not citizens.
I know the brother from Duke ain't no threat. Like, I know that much. So like that right there alone lets me know that they need to be more surgical with this. If somebody like him is, you know, getting his visa revoked.
That's right.
Yeah, a little more tactile, a little more couth, please, if you would. All right, switching gears to New Jersey Senator Cory Booker. Of course, he's standing in solidarity with Americans that are speaking out against the Trump administration. Now, he made the comments on ABC's This Week on Sunday. Booker said his record marathon speech on the Senate floor was about highlighting actions President Trump is taking that will put Americans in a bad spot. Let's hear more from Cory Booker.
The chaos he has unleashed on America, the financial insecurity that he has brought to people's lives. This is not what he promised people. I've never seen an administration in my lifetime do something so monumentally wrong and that so staggeringly hurts American people.
So the New Jersey Democrats said the Trump his first 100 days will be looked at as one of the worst in history of the country. And Booker also says there's now a ton of economic uncertainty every day that Americans must deal with. And that's something that Trump said would not happen as he was on the campaign trail. So, you guys, listen, I'll keep you posted as things continue to develop in what's going on and all of this that's going on. But yeah, that's pretty much your front page news.
All right.
So y'all can follow me on socials at Morgan Media. And for more news coverage, follow at Black Information Network. Download the free iHeartRadio app and visit us at BINnews.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Morgan.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.